What I want to show you today is a book that was written a long time ago, actually, in the 1940s by William J. Riley. And this book is entitled How to Avoid Work. Wow, what am I doing? Showing you a book of how to avoid work while you want to be an entrepreneur. Well, like Anais Nin quoted once, she says, "There is an ugliness in being paid for work one does not like." Now this really, it rings through today, and it also rings true for entrepreneurs. Entrepreneurs do not like to do things that are basically it would be considered work. It's more passion than anything else. So as old as this book is, it really fits in today's world of being an entrepreneur, and how entrepreneurs see their passions and how they see their businesses. For it to be successful, they have to have passion that goes with it. Riley mentions many things in his book, and he mentions the fact that your life is too short and too valuable to fritter away in work. Right? One way in this world to achieve true happiness is to do something that you really like to do, to express yourself with your skills and the enthusiasm that really is all about you. So this really, again, I repeat, it's an old book, but today's it would be sitting in most of entrepreneurs' library for sure. Yeah, how to avoid work? A lot of people think that anything that produces income should be considered to be work. And working hours in a week, in an hour, we round them off to 40 hours a week, 50 hours a week. If you work 60 hours a week, wow, you really, really worked hard. The thing is with passions and with the entrepreneurs is the way they look at it is that every breathing moment for them is work, but more passion than work. It's a totally different way of looking at things. You wake up in the morning and you're working, and but you're working towards something that you really, really love, and it's really close to you. So that's really the difference, is the mentality or the approach to it. We talked about your mindset earlier in another broadcast, and this one really goes in line with that too. Right? Greatest satisfaction you can obtain from life is your pleasure in producing in your own individual way. There's many creative artists out there that do this, all the time. So why can't we do this as not just as art, but something that we really want to pursue? Yeah, if you get into a job that we talked a little bit about retail jobs and low demeaning jobs, if you want to call them that, and it's just jobs that have monotonous routines and are very, very dull. And you get up in the morning and you say to yourself, really, I got to go to work? It's a tough feeling. This book, if you look it up, it really tells you a lot about how you get yourself out of that rut. And it is your choice in how you do things. Now, having said that, it doesn't mean that we all have to do certain things. I mean, you don't all have to be like artists and be creative. So in every business, there are 4 major jobs to be done. Riley writes in his book. One of them is creative, to be creative. And the job of being creative is inventing, discovering, and developing new ideas. Now, in this aspect, this is where most entrepreneurs land, because they have to be creative. You have to come up with new ideas. And when you start a new business, it has to be something completely different. This is true. This is true. But there is other aspects of work that people really enjoy in what they do. And one of them is administrative, making plans and policies, supervising projects. This is also being creative. Administrative is also logical work and methodical work indeed. But this doesn't mean that you're not loving it and liking it. Not everybody is the same in this world, as you'll see when we do different exercises in this course. But these are two really major jobs that have to be done, such as also being executive, an executive, directing the work of others and actual carrying out plans and policies. Some people are leaders. Some people, don't have to teach themselves or create themselves in this way of a new skill. This is what they love to do. They love to lead. There's nothing wrong with that. And it's also being creative, because you have to influence, you have to persuade certain people to look at it your way. And so this is really also a major job that has to be done. And a lot of people love this. And line work, performing some individual routine tasks involving no responsibility for the work of others, also is a job that has to be done in this world. And there are certain people in this world that love to do that. And if you choose to do that, there is nothing wrong with that either. But it's something that you choose, that you wake up in the morning and you want to do. You're comfortable in this type of job. So the human factor. Anytime you do not enjoy the human relations involved in any job, sooner or later, that job's bound to be work, not fun. Now, don't get me wrong with the fun part. I mean, life is serious. Life, we need money. We need to work. We need to have a life and buy a home and all of this for sure. But the thing is, why can't we have a good understanding with ourselves that the stress level of waking up in the morning and doing something is at the good stress and not the bad stress? And this is what Mr. Riley is trying to say here, is that not that you don't have to work, how to avoid work, but how to avoid something you don't want to do is really the title of his book. Something that you do not want to do, and why would you want to do it? So instead of doing that, why don't you do something that you love to do? Again, this book was written way back in the 40s, right after the war, and really was expressively written for women coming out of the war and housewives. And housewives all of a sudden were labeled to stay home with their children, and they were sort of like the norm to do that. If you were the society's norm to do that, take care of your kids and take care of your husband and cook and clean and all of that. But Riley saw into that, and a lot of women during the war did not do that. They did so many men's jobs because the men, of course, were out fighting. So this is exactly what he's trying to say, is that really they did things then that they really loved to do. And unfortunately, when the war ended, ironically, they had to go back to do something that not all of them loved to do. As you see on your screen, excuses. And excuses really have to do with everybody's way of being in a comfort zone. And also, as we discussed the mindset earlier, it's easy to have excuses and to stop any stuff that we might find for whatever reason to be difficult. And in life, there is all kinds of experiences that are difficult. But we try to avoid to do some of these things by getting into a zone where we're comfortable with. And if that means working at a low-paying job or a job that is not considered to be your passion and more work than anything else, then that is an excuse that you don't want to get out of it. So let's just take a look at Riley looks at the three main excuses. He says, I haven't the time is one excuse. I haven't the money is another excuse. And my people I know, close to you, sometimes friends, relatives, don't want me to do it. So these are three excuses that really stand out for him. So I haven't the time. Let's take a look at that one. So if you really break it down, without time, nothing is possible. So do you have the time or not? Everything requires time. Everybody has the same amount of time. As he says, it's a great leveler. We all have 24 hours in the day, and everyone has the same amount to spend it that day. So now the big question is, how do you spend that 24 hours is really up to you. And how you do it really, takes in consideration of how you see yourself also. So take the time in question and apply it in one direction. So success for sure is to follow, even in increments. I do give another lesson about how 1 hour a day, if you do something different, something you want to do, and you take just 1 hour every day, even if you could take 30 minutes, it might take a little longer, but even if you take 30 minutes and you just really concentrate and focus on that something new, whatever it is, in most cases learning a new language, and you really focus on that, you will learn that language. You will learn quite a bit in that 30 minutes because you are focused at that. So even an hour is even more. So success will follow. Love, as he says, is a secret ingredient. Now, he of course doesn't mean love in that sense of the word, but love of yourself, love of what you want to do, love of life, love of choice is what he's trying to say. And the romanticism in life is not just the fact of being romantic in the true sense of the word, but really romanticism is to be attached to certain things that you really love to do and to be passionate about it. Time is the only thing you really do have. The next excuse he uses is, he talks about, Riley, is, I haven't the money. Yes, money, of course, plays a big part in our world, no doubt about it. So purpose comes before making a living financially. Yes, money never comes first. We take money to be the most important factor to survive and to have a great life. And this is true in many respects. But it's really how you get that money, how you get yourself into a position where you're doing something for money that you love to do. Initially, in most situations, we have to do things that we don't really love. But it gets back to our first lesson about mindset. It all depends how you look at it from the beginning. So the only security is your ability to produce something of value. So the guarantee of happiness is your joy in producing it. So yes, money is really, really important. I will not ever say that contrary to that. But it's the way you make it to make you happy and to really have a combination of all. But it's also your approach to happiness, your approach to making money, and seeing certain jobs that you have to do as stepping stones and not just a rut in a position that you can't get out of, and so forth. So true happiness lies in the pursuit of your goal, achievement in your chosen field, whatever that field is. I showed you 4 jobs there that you had before, being administration, art, or line work, but that's your chosen field, and for you it is to be happy in that field. This has to be your main purpose, your main focus all the time. And it's difficult to do. Life is hard at times. It's not the easiest thing, but this is what really makes you successful in yourself and pursue your life in a very passionate and happy way. As it says there, as Riley says, if you put money first all the time, well, sometimes it's really unpredictable. Your life, your happiness lies in the balance, as he says, and will not lead you to a certain happiness that you're looking for yourself and the people that surround you. Talking about the people that surround you, well, this is a main excuse that a lot of people use. They listen to other people. They don't have the confidence to follow through on their own, and they listen to the people that are really close to them. Husbands and wives, parents, friends, close friends that you've had all your life. But unfortunately, some of these close people really influence you in the wrong way, right? They really do influence you in the wrong way. And some of them, yes, they do influence you in the right way. But it's for you to decide, if they influence you into a direction that you find that you're more working than you are living and doing something that you love. It's for you to decide that something has to be done and discussed here, right? So they influence us more than we realize, that's for sure. So it's easy to live the life others expect of us. And this is where you have to decide personally what that means to you. How people influence you. Again, all the people that are close to you. to make this living, to survive. What, you're not working? Why did you quit your job? You know, stuff like that. You should stay there. It's a good company. Yes, it's a good company, but is it good for me? Is the questions you should be asking yourself. It's a good job. It's a good career. What does that career mean to you directly? So through life, we accumulate. It all adds up. All advice, all interference, and it's a mixed bag of information that we get. And some of it is good, and some of it is bad. And it's for us to decide that for ourselves individually what is good and what is bad. And a lot of people, when they pass on this advice, as Riley says, they base it on certain experiences that they had. And that experience sometimes could be very negative. And when they pass it on to you, it becomes a negative, criticism or a negative advice. And no, don't do that. I've done that before, and it's didn't work out. It's terrible. Don't do this, and stay there. I wouldn't do that if I were you. And that's a very line that people use a lot. I wouldn't do that if I were you. Well, you're not me, and you're not me, and you should not be telling me such things. But unfortunately, this is human behavior in a lot of ways. We do this. We pass on our experiences, but it's up to us what we do with that. These are not orders stamped and that we have to do exactly what they say. So neither hot, neither cold, wet, nor dry. That means basically, it really leads us to believe what we think is information that we can use for ourselves and how we respond to it, right? Hot nor cold, it's really in between. So it's how we take this information and how we use it to our advantage and to our lives and to our comfort. Attaching this to what I've been discussing about goals and opportunities to start your business and to be an entrepreneur, right? So really a sound mind is needed to create an opportunity in your lives if you really want to get your own business and become an entrepreneur. Even if you don't, the direction that you want to take becomes the opportunity, be it education, be it certain jobs that you have to have also. So only one sound mind is needed to create an opportunity. The sound mind is your mind, and it's sound in a sense where you're making the decisions that are best for you, and not to work, as it says right there, but to enjoy life and to be happy in what you're doing. Now, there's a lot of information online about this book, and I've given you a little synopsis about what exactly Mr. O'Reilly is trying to say here. There is a website that you have on screen that tells you a little bit more about this book and where you can get it and read through it. And when you do click on that link, and when you do click on that link, brainpickings.org link, this link really leads you to the Brain Pickings website, and this website has a lot more to offer than just this book. It does have a lot of insightful information on other writers, on other books, and more information that could be to your advantage. But this is really for me was a really important one. And here you see Mr. O'Reilly in younger days, and how he saw life at that time in the 40s. Really inspired a lot of people even till today. So this book, as old as it is, till today, this book is used by entrepreneurs to have a good base and understanding of what they need to do to become great entrepreneurs. So that's the lesson. I hope you got something out of it, and do share your comments with me when we do meet. And there is no exercise that goes with this. This is more food for thought. Alors merci et bonne chance à vous tous.